Welcome to Recipes Recommended. Today our recommendation, Hungarian mushroom soup, may be familiar to you and comes to us from the famous Moosewood Cookbook, a compilation of adapted for-home use recipes from the Moosewood restaurant in Ithaca, New York. Although I had never tried the soup, Lisa used to make large batches of it at a previous job. It was also the only recipe I was immediately familiar with when we started talking about this cookbook. After cross-referencing the recipe with online versions, we decided to make slight alterations, which we'll discuss. It's hearty and comes with a few surprises. We hope you enjoy it. Mushrooms soak up a lot of liquid, which is great for cooking, but kind of bad for cleaning. Although you can rinse them off with the spray gun in your kitchen sink, it's better to use a clean paper towel or cloth to rub the caps, getting as much debris off as you can. The mushrooms we used in this recipe were really clean, but they can be really filthy, and you definitely don't want to have that in whatever you're cooking. This recipe calls for about 1.5 pounds of sliced mushrooms. After trimming off the woody tips of the stems, I thinly sliced them and set them aside while I prepped the other ingredients. Before starting with the next prep, I cleaned off the cutting board of all the remaining mushroom bits and dirt. The recipe calls for 2 cups of diced onion to be sautéed before adding about 3 tablespoons of freshly minced dill, or 2 to 3 teaspoons of dried. Fresh dill is nice to work with because the leaves are easy to strip, and if you get some of the stems mixed in, it's not a problem. I highly recommend using fresh dill for no other reason than fresh is almost universally the better choice, but you also get more practice improving your knife skills when you work with fresh ingredients. Just like with most soft herbs, to finely chop or mince them, ball up the herbs in a tight ball and then chop in a line. Then, in a seesaw motion, rock the knife through the herbs to break them down further. You can process a lot of herbs in a very short amount of time this way. Grab your Dutch oven or high-walled pan and melt 2 tablespoons of unsalted butter over medium heat. Once sizzling, add the onions and cook until soft, about 5 minutes. Now is the time to add the sliced mushrooms, dill, and other seasonings including paprika and salt. Once the ingredients are sufficiently combined, we put on the lid and let it cook for about 15 minutes, stirring occasionally. When we make this again, I'm going to stir more frequently, scraping the bottom of the pot as the fond develops super fast and it isn't very easy to deglaze despite being helped by the liquid which is released by the mushrooms. After 15 minutes, the mushrooms were cooked down to about 1/4 of their original size. We added some lemon juice and took that opportunity to scrape the bottom of the pot a little more before stirring in some unbleached all-purpose flour little by little, cooking the rawness out of it. This will add body and will act to thicken the soup as it simmers. Although there is the implication of this being a vegetarian soup, use whatever cooking liquid you want. I'm certain that beef stock, for instance, would be magical here. You can now add some dairy, consisting of a cup of whole milk, and black pepper and salt to taste. I made a rookie mistake here. When adding sour cream to a soup like this, to ensure creaminess, it's a good idea to temper it. I dumped all of it in, but I should have added some of the soup to the sour cream and then mixed that together before adding it back to the soup. I think I was following the recipe too closely, and that's totally okay. It wasn't a big problem, and the soup still tasted great. It'll just look nicer if you temper it in. We warmed the soup back up to temp and ladled it into bowls. It was garnished with some minced parsley and, per one variation we found online, served with some tamari, a type of Japanese soy sauce. It has a thicker consistency and a more balanced flavor than Chinese soy sauce. It's a must and makes the soup taste amazing. I read a passage in the introduction to the Moosewood Cookbook which really resonated with me. Moosewood is the focal point to which each cook has brought her or his personal culinary heritage from family and friends. Sounds a lot like what we're attempting to do with this channel. If you enjoyed this video, please consider hitting the like button, commenting, and subscribing. Also, you can find the full recipe on our website, recipesrecommended.com. If you have a recipe you think that we should make, send us a message and we'll check it out. We may also make a video. We thank you for joining us, and please don't forget, great minds eat alike.